morning. It is the 12th of March 2024 and this is part of my Lent videos that I'm doing. So this one is for yesterday and today, which was the 11th and the 12th of March. Now yesterday, what I did with my little boy, who you can probably hear in the background, is we went to one of the local charity shops called the Mary Ann Evans Hospice. Now, I live in Nuneaton, which is actually famous for the author George Eliot, whose real name was Mary Ann Evans. One of the books that she is famous for writing is Mill on the Floss. So anyone who is local to the Midlands may have heard of her. And if you're from overseas, you've probably heard of her as well. So I picked up this small piece of chintz, as their dad would call it. And what I am going to do is upcycle this and design it a little bit better than what it has been made into. Now, to be honest, I'm quite shocked that this was actually even able to sell in the first place. As you can see, there are these little bits of wire that have only sort of hand been wrapped around small pieces of wood that look like little heart shapes. And they were hanging from the sign like that. Now, my only obviously prevention for having something like this in my house is the fact that my son has sensory-seeking autism. And if he was to put something like that in his mouth, it would be an extremely dangerous, not to mention a choking hazard. What I've also noticed is when removing the wire is that it's actually become rusty because of the moisture in the air, and obviously due to where this has previously been owned by and for storage reasons. So again, that's the only disadvantage of using something like wire for things like this, is that over time it can become rusty and then become dangerous. Not to mention the fact that this is actually very sharp and people could potentially sustain injury. Now, I would suspect this item was actually designed for a child's bedroom, preferably a girl. I love the little fairy that has been put on here. It's just like a basic plank of wood. I'm not sure as to the paint that's used. Hopefully it's not lead, because it's illegal to use any paint that's got lead in it since, I believe, in 1992 within the United Kingdom. Don't quote me on that, but I do remember reading something about it years ago. And then obviously I thought it was pyrographied in, but it looks like it's just sort of been printed on my room, my mess, my problem. And then if we turn it over, again, there's no information to tell you who made it or no manufacturer's marks. And what they have done is used two little tacks. Probably the best way to describe them is staples, but they are obviously more heavy-duty staples, and they have used that to put on the Hessian cord, which isn't that big, which is really good, to be honest, because if you are going to use something like this for a child's bedroom, there are rules and regulations you have to comply with. I don't know what they are, but I do vaguely remember reading something about how the length of any cords that are on things have to be of a bare minimum, again, to prevent choking hazards or, get a child getting their fingers or hands trapped within the cord itself. So again, if I personally was going to put this in my children's room, it would have to be somewhere that was out of reach. For my room, I'd probably just put it on the back of the door. And again, you would like to think that if somebody was to get caught with this, as much as you want it to be strong and durable, I would like to think that would break. But I know how heavy-duty twine can be in the garden, and it could potentially dig into, a small child or even an adult's hands or feet if not used correctly or displayed safely. So the first thing I'm going to do to upcycle this is remove all of the hearts and the wire. And then I am going to use a different method of putting the hearts back onto the sign themselves. I do like the hearts. I do think they're quite cute. Alternatively, what I could do is just not put them back on and then reuse them for another project. But at the moment, I'm thinking that I will probably put them back on. But we shall see. So thank you very much for watching. I just want to point out this isn't a paid promotion. This is part of my Lent project that I've set myself. And this part is all about reducing, reusing, and recycling. So over the last 2 days, it's something I would have talked about. You don't, as a parent or anyone, have to go out and spend loads and loads of money on things. There are so many things out there that people just throw away, or, as I try to encourage, to be reduced, reused, or recycled. So what I like is the fact that somebody has taken it upon themselves to take this to a charity shop, and one of the local charity shops in Nuneaton, and I've now had the opportunity to purchase this and then reuse it myself. So it hasn't ended up in a landfill. The only thing that obviously is going to be thrown away, sadly, is going to be the wire. I am not going to be able to reuse this for anything. I probably could, but because I've noticed it's already started to go rusty, the safest thing for me to do would be to throw this away. The only disadvantage of that, obviously, is it will end up in a landfill and become an environmental issue, can be quite dangerous to wildlife. But over time, as it should be classed as more of a or natural material, it should be biodegradable over time, but as to how long that would be, I wouldn't want to speculate. So again, when buying any product, look at how it's made, look at how it's manufactured. And, because if you do decide to throw this away, again, the only thing that I would be throwing away is the wire. The rest of it is in such excellent condition that it can be reused. Potentially, I could even repaint this into a different colour, and even redo the "My Room, My Mess, My Problem," or even put a totally different saying on it altogether and make it into a different project. Giving it a different lease of life. So please, if whenever possible, if you can take anything away from this video today, is for the 11th and 12th of March of Lent 2024, I'm talking about reducing, reusing, and recycling. I'm just checking to see if the arms actually do move and the legs do move on here. So again, it's beautifully crafted, but you can clearly see these items aren't fixed. And even the crown that the little fairy has got is actually made of metal. So just be vigilant if you were to put this in a child's room, because there are still sharp parts that could become dangerous if not displayed correctly. Thank you.